So, you guys, I had my doctor's appointment and I walked out of there feeling validated because I've been saying this for weeks. For most of us, it is not just about calories in, calories out. It's way deeper than that. Let's talk about it. Welcome to Slow and Steady with Andy. I'm Andy, and in today's video, I'm going to give you a quick update sharing with you how my last week on 7.5 milligrams went, and I'm going to share with you how things went at my last doctor's visit. So, for those of you that have watched my last couple of videos, you know that I have been debating back and forth whether I wanted to go up to the 10 milligram. And it really just got to a point where I could totally tell that all the good side effects from the 7.5 milligram had just really faded away. So I had sent a message to my doctor asking if I could go up to the 10 milligram. And she let me know that she would want to see me first before she made that decision. So before my visit, I went in for some lab work and we talked about that a little bit at my appointment. So, for anybody who doesn't know, the whole reason I started Mounjaro was because I was diagnosed with type 2 diabetes. But of course, me being somebody who is overweight, I was hoping that we would have the weight loss effects of the medication as well. So I started it in June of 2025 and I have lost 32 pounds. Yeah, 32 pounds is the most I've lost so far. So that 32 pounds over the last, I would say, month and a half has now fluctuated, and it seems like I keep going up a couple pounds and then I'll go back down a couple pounds, and it's just been back and forth, back and forth. So for this particular doctor's visit, I met with the PA in my doctor's office that has a master's in nutrition. So when I want to discuss anything nutrition related, I actually have a separate appointment with her. So that is who I met with. And so she asked me a bunch of questions like, what kind of foods have I been eating? So I don't do calorie tracking. I do keep sort of a written log of the types of foods I eat. I tend to be very much a creature of habit. So especially like Monday through Friday, I have maybe two things I alternate between that I'll eat for breakfast, maybe one or two things that I'll have for lunch, and then dinner, I don't know, maybe three or four things, but I'm very repetitive with what I eat during the week. So in the beginning of starting this journey, I did use my Fitness Pal to see how many calories the things I typically eat are, how much protein is in those things, all that stuff, just so I have an idea. But since I do eat pretty much the same things over and over, I don't calorie track that every day. And so she said that I'm doing really well with the things I'm eating, that if anything, it sounds like I'm not getting enough food in every day, and which crazy, thought I'd never hear those types of words. But in going over all of that, she's pretty confident that I am actually in a calorie deficit for my weight and my height and all those things that determine what amount of calories I should be having to be in a deficit. She does feel like I'm in a deficit, but she also feels like it may be a little bit too low. She never did give me an actual calorie count. I am the one who kind of pushed for a number because just it helps me keep track of the things I'm eating, and it helps me to make sure that I'm not going, you know, too over the top with calorie count. So she had said keep it between 1600 and 1800 calories. She does not want me going below 1600 calories. But I am pretty sure that a lot of times I am not even hitting that 1600 calorie mark. So she doesn't think that food is the issue. She doesn't think that I'm not getting enough restriction. So we started going into the other factors. As a 50-year-old woman, going into menopause. I am almost officially in menopause. If I don't have another period by this July, then that will be 1 year since I've had a period and it will be official. Not sure how I feel about that, but you know, it's life. We get older, things change, our bodies change, and right now my body is going crazy. So the lab work, everything that should look good looks good, but I'm definitely going through some major hormonal changes going into menopause. So some of the things that I've had happening to me in the past few months is I notice I am getting a lot of sleep disruption. I seem to be waking up every night, probably around 3:30 a.m., 4 a.m., just like wide awake. And I get up at 6 a.m. every morning for work. And I'm sure some of you are going through this as well. And you know that when you wake up at 3:30, 4 o'clock in the morning, like wide awake, by the time I go back to sleep, I have to get up for work. So around, I would say like 10 o'clock in the morning, I am hitting this major wall where I am struggling so bad. I feel so tired, just completely exhausted, and it's it's been a struggle. And she explained as well that what's happening with this disrupted sleep is it's making my cortisol levels rise. It's making me have a lot of inflammation, and what happens when your cortisol is high and you have a lot of inflammation? Your body refuses to get rid of fat. Even if you are in a calorie deficit, even if you are exercising, your body just holds on to everything. And she's pretty confident that that is why I am in this plateau. So she was all for going to the 10 milligram. I was so happy about that. But going into this phase of this particular dose, I'm really shifting out of weight related focus, and I need to get my hormones under control. I need to start making some important decisions about how I'm going to move forward going into menopause. My doctor gave me some books that she wants me to read, some podcasts that she wants me to listen to because there's so many ways you can treat the hormonal shifts as a woman going into menopause. And some of them are all natural, some of them are hormone treatments, and some of those things have some risks involved. And it's a lot to think about. But she said that the only one who can make the decision of how I want to proceed is me. So my focus over the next couple months before I see her again is to really start researching some of this and figuring out what the best path is going to be for me. If you are in menopause and you're doing any treatments, whether it's natural or you're going the hormone treatment route, let me know in the comments below. Please share with me your experience. That would just really help give me some insight as well as to what decisions I need to start making. So, another thing that I told her about that's really been bothering me as my body is changing is this menopause brain fog. You guys, it's like, it's just, it's wild. The simplest word that I might be trying to think of to say is just lost. I can't think of it. So she did recommend a couple of things to me to help me with not only the fatigue, but also the brain fog. And she also recommended something for me when I wake up in the middle of the night to help me get back to sleep. She really wants me to try to focus on getting my body retrained into sleeping all night. So I'm going to share with you the couple of things that she told me about. And if you're interested in seeing the specific brands that I'm using or read up a little bit more about them, I will link my Amazon storefront down in the description box. And if you click on that, it will bring you to my Amazon storefront where I save all kinds of things that I've bought and use and would feel pretty confident recommending to anyone. So the first thing that she recommended, this is for the brain fog and the fatigue, and it is Shazandra. So there are so many brands out there, whether it's Amazon or, the drugstore, wherever, but this is the particular one I picked out. And Shazandra berries. The bottle says it's stress and liver support, but she said it should help with the brain fog and the fatigue. And then the other thing that she recommended for when I wake up at night, she told me to get melton strips. And these are melatonin and biotin. They come in individual little packets, and they're like the strips that you put on the tongue and melt away really quick. And I have to say, I've been using these for about a week, and I feel like they're already helping. I feel like when I do wake up, I hurry up and I take one, and I feel like I've been able to get to sleep a lot easier. But I also found that today is Saturday when I'm recording this. I found that Thursday and Friday, I still woke up before my alarm went off, but it was more like 5 o'clock in the morning. So I felt so much better about that because at least it's only an hour before I'm supposed to get up. So those nights I actually didn't use these. So I don't know if it's placebo effect going on. So I don't know. I will continue to try these out and see if they help. And they taste pretty good. They have a little bit of a minty taste to them. They melt super quick, and I kind of like it. I kind of like the little package too. But anyways, so another thing that we talked about was something that's really been bothering me, and that is my hair thinning. Now, I've noticed that my hair has been thinning for a few years now, but I feel like over the past year it's gotten worse. And that is just a real struggle for me because ever since puberty, I've struggled with my weight. I've been overweight. But one thing I had was my hair. And yeah, it's pretty vain, but it was the one thing that I felt like pretty with. I guess that's how I can describe it. And I mean, I can just tell like it used to be so much thicker, and I can see areas on my scalp, especially back here, that my scalp just comes through major, where before, the hair was thick enough that you couldn't see my scalp. I've also noticed that over the summertime, we have an above ground pool. And obviously, if it's warm enough out in Michigan, we spend a lot of time in it. And I noticed that my scalp's been getting burned. I'm going to have to start wearing a swim cap or a sun hat while I'm in the pool because there's just so much more scalp exposed that it's getting burned. So, something I've been doing to help me, I guess, feel a little better, I found some hair fiber powder on Amazon, and it comes in like a bunch of colors to match your hair tone. So, you just sprinkle it into whatever areas you're kind of trying to fill in, and then you pat it down a little bit. And it does work pretty well. The only real negative with that is, especially if you have dark hair like me, I'll forget that it's on my scalp. And if I scratch my hair, like I'll find it in my nails and it looks really gross, but whatever. That's also linked in my Amazon storefront if you want to check that out. But it really has been making me feel a little bit better. But I, I expressed to my doctor that I really would like to know, is there a prescription? Is there something I can do to help bring the hair growth back? By this time, it had already been like an hour. So she said at the next visit, we will address the hair because she's going to need to have specific labs done. She wants to really be able to inspect my scalp and everything to really determine how much of this is hereditary and how much of this may be not enough protein related. It's just not something she could tell me right then and there. And she didn't want to prescribe like minoxidil or something like that without knowing the actual causes that are affecting my hair growth. So, as that gets addressed in the next couple of months, I'll for sure share with you anything she recommends to me or how, I'm going to move forward. If I have to, I guess I will chop my hair off and invest in a nice wig because I don't want these like empty patches on my head. I'm 5 feet tall, so everybody stands above me. So I feel like when I'm standing around around people, they're all looking down onto this like balding patch on my head, and it makes me feel like crap. It really does. It's embarrassing to me, even though it's like not my fault or whatever. But, I'm a woman. I don't want somebody staring down into a bald spot on my head. It's just, yeah. So that's pretty much, I think, most of the things we talked about related to this menopause phase, hormone shifts, all that type of thing. She asked me about what type of exercising I'm doing, and I told her that I've been doing some resistance training on my weight stack machine that we have at home, and I've been walking on the treadmill. I try to do it I try to do it 4 to 5 days a week. I would really like to do it every day, but it just always doesn't happen. And she said that, that's great that I'm walking and everything, but she really wants me to focus on the resistance training side of it. She said, if all you have is 30 minutes a day to put into exercise, don't even do the walking. Do focus on building muscle because that is another issue that could be preventing the weight from coming off because the more muscle we have, the more calories we burn. So now my focus is to try to get more weightlifting in during the week. She also mentioned that as far as what exercise I need to do to try and burn belly, which that's always been another big issue for me. I tend to carry most of my weight in my belly. And she said that just walking is not going to do it. I'm going to need to do like high intensity training. So I've been looking up some like 10-minute hit exercise videos on YouTube, beginner level, and I've been trying to get some of that in there. She said the only way I'm going to burn the belly fat is to raise my heart rate to, a higher safe level, a safe higher level, and then slowing down for 15 to 30 seconds and then doing something else to raise that heart rate right back up. And I need to do that repeatedly for at least 10 minutes a day to try and see some of the belly fat start coming off. And then the other thing that she wants me to do is she wants me to raise my protein levels. So when I started the Mounjaro, she wanted me to focus on having 90 to 100 grams of protein a day. And I'm actually going to be having a video coming up sometime soon addressing protein levels because I'm noticing it's not just in the GLP-1 community, it's everywhere on social media that the protein trend has now overtaken like the keto trend and all that. And I see people that are sharing how much protein they have in a day, and they're having 160 grams, 170 grams. And, I'm in this calorie deficit, but I'm still able to hit, this crazy amount of protein per day, and I'm dropping the weight like crazy. And I just really want to talk about that because I feel like, as somebody who is on here sharing my journey, that anything I share with you guys, I need to be really responsible and make sure that you know that I am doing this with medical guidance, medical supervision. I am not making a decision on, going up in protein because my doctor needs to see my lab work. My doctor needs to make sure my kidneys are healthy because if you have any type of kidney issues, it is very dangerous to have too much protein every day. So please, you guys, if you are focusing on protein every day, please make sure that when deciding how much to have every day, that you are making those decisions with your personal healthcare provider. So I did tell her that I told her that even just getting like 100 grams of protein a day is a challenge, especially when you're not really hungry and you're like, I can't have another piece of chicken today. I am done. I am done eating for today. So she did recommend something to me that can be a bit of a replacement for protein. So she recommended to me essential amino acids. It can come in the form of a powder, and I can just drop it into like the water that I drink every day. And she said that it's not protein, but it acts as protein in the body. So I'm thinking about trying it out. Something else she shared with me about essential amino that I think is important to share with you. She doesn't recommend that I just go out and buy any brand of it because there are known purity issues and lead issues with some of them. So she gave me two specific brand names. I only wrote one of them down, so I don't remember what the other one was. But the one I do remember was called Kion, Kion, and I did find it on Amazon. I have not bought it yet because it is a little bit pricey, but as soon as it's in my budget, I do plan on getting some of it because anything that can help me meet that protein level every day, I'm all for it because maybe I will start to see some improvement with, my hair. But I will also put that in my Amazon store, and I can't really give you any feedback on it at this point. But once I do buy it and I am using it, I will definitely let you know what I think about it. Just to finish out this video, I'm going to pop up my weigh-in for this week. And the last weigh-in you saw for me was 2 weeks ago. So this one is showing 2 pounds increase. And I can tell you that this past week, well, week and a half, I have really noticed a lot of bloating in my body, a lot of water retention going on. I haven't had this issue for several months. Actually, before I started the Mounjaro, I always had issues. And mainly, I think it's because I sit for 8 hours a day for work and don't get much activity during the day. And by the time I'm done, I'm just swelled up and everything. But I don't know. I think it might be hormone related because my body in some ways feels like it could go into a period even though I'm not actually having a period, but I'm having some of those symptoms and side effects, if that makes sense. But yeah, so I am confident that there isn't anything I did to just gain 2 pounds of weight. I think that is definitely just all this water weight that I am holding. And usually in my weekly update videos, I take my injection with you right on camera. However, yesterday when I took my injection and recorded my weekly update video, I had a little bit of a technical fail. So it's actually Saturday, the day after my injection day, and I had to re record everything. So that is what's going on. Next week, I'll be back with my little injection moment to share with you. I don't know. Some of you might be like, I don't care. I don't need to see it. But I just feel like I feel like it's a moment I want to share with you guys. And also next week I'll give you a little bit of an update on how things are going with my hubby. on the semaglutide GLP-1 compound that he started a few weeks ago. And just another little side note in case you're wondering, these are not tattoos on my arm. I was spending some time today practicing some tribal face painting designs. It's not something I've really delved into yet in my face painting world, and I'm trying to get so I'm just trying to learn some of the techniques of doing it. And my ring keeps spinning around. I don't know if you guys can see this as well. My ring has gotten so loose that it tends to want to spin. So, the diamond is on the inside of my hand, which that's a good sign. And it's weird because I'm like retaining so much water everywhere else, but apparently not in my hands. So, anyways, you guys, here I go off into another conversation. Oh, but I will tell you that since I took my injection yesterday, and today's my first day after my new 10 milligram dose, the only side effect I'm having is a slight bit of nausea. And I didn't get that until after we had lunch, but that's where I'm at right now. But honestly, I really don't mind the little bit of nausea. I feel like that's part of the appetite suppression I experience. So I'm okay with that. Hopefully next week I'll see some weight loss, but if not, I am at peace with that. I'm not moving up to the 10 milligram to chase faster weight loss. I'm moving up because with my doctor, we've evaluated the plateau and for several reasons feel like it's time to just go up to the 10 milligram. If you are in your 40s, 50s, or above, and this whole weight loss part of the journey feels more complicated than just calories in, calories out, you're not crazy. There are so many layers to this, and I'm figuring them out right alongside of you. Slow and steady. I'll see you next week.
Been through a
Bye.
lot of pain. Some things are not the same as they were a year ago, but all will be okay. I move on each and every day. The past is where it stays, way back a year ago. I've changed for the better this time. I thought I would never be fine. I strive just to say I'm alright, and for the first time in a long time I'm alright. I've seen a lot of change, been through a lot of pain. Some things are not the same as they were a year ago, but all will be okay. I move on each and every day. The past is where it stays, way back a year ago.